Good morning and welcome to worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura. We want to thank those of you that are sitting in this section for wearing your masks. The one nearest the windows, it's so appreciated for people who are more comfortable wearing masks, so it's good to have you here. I am Worship Associate Celia Ortenberg, and I am joined in facilitating this service this morning by Zena Kingshill. You may have expected our minister, the Reverend Dana Warsnop, to be here this morning, but her hip replacement surgery recovery is taking just a tad bit longer than we had expected. Word went out. Jake Heron answered the call. We're thrilled to have him with us. Our music director, Carolyn Bjerke, is also unexpectedly out. So the ever fabulous Zach Spencer is stepping in, not only this morning to offer his usual musical talents at the piano and his vocals, but to direct our choir as well. So yay for everybody. Isn't it amazing how people step up and things can get put together? And I thank all of you, wherever you are, however you found us, for joining us this hour of worship. We couldn't do it without you, could we? But let me tell you a little bit about Jake. He is a Metis descendant of the Blackfoot Nation and the Sami people. He grew up in Austin, Texas, before moving away to attend college and enlist in the Army. The Unitarian Universalist Association approved him to enter the Army Reserve Chaplain Candidate Program while studying at Union Theological Seminary. His ministry has spanned Turtle Island to include a prison internship, hospital residency, and congregational work, as well as chaplaincy to the defense and to the Native communities. He is currently a Doctor of Buddhist Ministry student at the University of the West, focusing on non-theistic spiritual support. He'll be speaking us today about love and unexpected consequences. Welcome to Ventura. We are thrilled that you are here. Thanks a lot. But we preface this service by acknowledging that our building rests on the unceded ancestral homes of the Chumash peoples. Let us pause and remember that the ground that we live on is sacred, and it cries out for justice and responsible stewardship. In so remembering, may we find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. Before beginning our service, of course, we have a few announcements. There will be a memorial service for Phoebe Higgins next Sunday, March 3rd, after the service at 1 o'clock. A new women's group begins on Thursday, February 27th at 6 in the green room. If you're interested, contact Rena Pizzuto. Come and experience a taste of India and Thailand with Gary Nareen and Zena Kingshill this Thursday, February 29th. Reservations for the dinner portion are closed, but those who wish to still enjoy the presentation at 7 p.m., you are quite welcome. Also in Berg Hall, you might notice there are items from auctions from the Ventura Homeless Prevention event that was held yesterday. The items are just past the coffee service at the far end from here in Berg Hall. You are also invited to bid on the auction items and support Ventura homelessness. I'm sorry, we don't want to support homelessness. Ventura Homeless Prevention, okay. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always ask our Sue Brinkmeyer. Details about these and other upcoming events are in our weekly email bulletin, UUVC this week. Now bring with you what is yours, a burdened heart, a joyous song, a seeking mind, a spirit that is weary or eager to serve, and let us enter sacred space.
I am Worship Associate Zena Kingshill, wishing you a beautiful Sunday here in the sanctuary or wherever you may be finding us. We are always glad to have you here with us in person or via streaming of some sort. We invite those who are Zooming or streaming into this service to light a chalice or candle at home as Celia lights the chalice of our free faith here in the sanctuary. Come, let us worship together.
Worries and anxieties, suspend all consuming elation for a renewal of community, for a revival of spirit, if just for an hour, a moment, a breath. And let us regain our strength as a community of faith. And now, at this time, I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able for hymn 1008, Heart is in a Holy Place.
Blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is
And now I would love to invite the children, yay, and those young at heart up front because Zake has some wonderful words to share with them.
Oh my. Let me get around. Okay. All right. So I'd like to share a story that I grew up with. But first off, who is okay with spiders? Okay, good. I just want to check. Because if not, I gotta throw an audible and figure something out. Sorry, I get a bit loud sometimes. So I want to tell the story as I was told, and this can vary depending on family to family, but about how the first dream catcher was created. So, yes. So, a long time ago, Earth is very, very new, and one of the great spirits, Grandmother Spider, saw that the world was starting to actually already start to fall apart. People were starting to get away from each other. Mountains were becoming disconnected from the land around them. Forests were becoming isolated. Trees like, okay, I need to bring this back together. Let me weave a web and tie it all together. And so that's how we got the world into the single shape that we have it now. But then noticed that at each of the little points as it was woven together, it starts to tarnish, it starts to break down. Well, okay, I need to do a little bit of maintenance. Nobody likes cleaning house, but you gotta do it occasionally. Well, she thought and thought and had a great idea. Inktomi, which is a trickster spirit of the Northern Plains peoples, the Lakota, Blackfeet, the Ojibwe, and often also takes the form of a spider. So it's like, okay, you have similar powers and abilities and such as I do. You're going to take care of it for me while I tend to all the other things that I need to do as one of the higher divine spirits. Also, this is, to keep him out of trouble, because what's he going to do? He's going to go steal some fire and give it to the humans, or do something else that trickster spirits love to do. Yeah. Inktomi had an idea. So what he did, also seeing like, I don't want to do this, decided that he's going to make basically a little representation of the web that had been woven. So took some branches, circled them up, wove a web around it, and kind of blessed it off. And it's like, okay, this can handle it for this one spot. It needs to happen here, 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 and there. Oh, this is too much work. Human, come here. And so Inktomi taught the humans, he taught the people, how to make dream catchers, because what he found is that the tarnishing often happened because of bad spirits, bad thoughts, nightmares. So he taught them how to make the first dream catchers, and he put the one important thing that he told them to do is to make sure that there's at least a small stone in the web, because that is a representation of Grandmother Spider. That is a representation of Inktomi. There is always a spider in the dream catcher to help clean up our bad thoughts, to process these things out into the world. So, as I said, this is a story that was told to me by my auntie and my mom and all them. And it does vary from family to family, but I just wanted to share that with you, that if we do the work, maybe we can process out some bad dreams. Thank you. Shall we sing the children out?
Always a spider in the dream catcher. I like that. Every Sunday, this congregation gives away our collection to an organization in the larger community or to funds that help people in our own church. Those of you at home have two ways to give: through the link that is posted on the chat or by texting your phone to 844-901-1779. Folks present in the sanctuary can text to give, or you can still write a check or give cash and then drop it in the basket at the back of the sanctuary after the service. Our offering today goes to the InReach Outreach Fund to help members of this congregation or someone in the larger community when unexpected things occur. This fund has been used recently to help a member of the congregation deal with a home repair that was both urgent and beyond their ability to pay. It has helped other members pay off big dental bills or buy the needed hearing aid or get a used refrigerator when the old one stopped working. This fund has helped with car repairs and even with trips to see a dying family member. If Reverend Dana were here, she would no doubt be sharing with you, as she has in the past, the joy that she gets when this fund allows her to say yes to such a request for help. Your donations are what make it possible for her to say yes. So thank you for giving generously, as you always do. We are so grateful for the generosity of this congregation, which helps us weave that tapestry of love that we call community.
Now is the time in the service when we hold up the great joys and sorrows that grace our lives. We place stones in water for both the celebrations and the sorrows in our hearts. Make out our community. You can submit a joy or sorrow for sharing via a link on the website, uuventura.org. I invite you now to speak into the gathered community or write in the Zoom chat the names of those you wish to celebrate or memorialize, or those in need of the loving embrace of this community. Celia will now place one final stone in the water for all the joys and sorrows yet unspoken in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. May we be truly grateful for all that is our life. And so now, will you join me in singing hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. This one is kind of long, lots of words, lots of good words. Please, if you want to stand, I prefer to stand when it's a long hymn. Stand. If you wish to sit, sit. It's totally up to each of you.
To
So the fun part of going into ministry, trying to find readings, is sometimes you get to make friends with people that are doing writing of poems and short stories, and they ask you to test things out before they get published. So that's why you couldn't find this online. So the paradox of Cupid's arrow. 'Neath the branches of an oak tree, I managed to get some respite from the world around, to enjoy the sights, the smells, oh geez, oh, a burning sensation pierced in the middle of my back. What, heart palpitation, what is going on? I need some help. Maybe I can, hi, sweaty palms, flushed skin. What do I tell this person? No, I don't want to tell them about my health. I want to ask them to be with me at the moment. Maybe the butterflies in my stomach have really messed this up. I'm completely thinking the wrong thing. No, hire the butterflies in the stomach. Maybe if I just say hello, that will be enough. So I'd like to go ahead and talk to you about some of the different kinds of love, if we may. So to move on, we can switch the side. Okay, well, anyway. So growing up, my dad, we were not very well off, I'll put it that way. And Dad had a working class job. But one time when I was really young, I remember, even though he has a van full of tools, and we even have a shed with all of our his electrical equipment, he couldn't find a flathead screwdriver to save his life. I'm not sure what was going on, but we had to repair something in the kitchen, so he ushered me over to the drawer to grab one of the dinner knives that you use to, spread sandwiches and such. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to use this real quick. It's a simple fix. The knife snaps on him. He used too much force to turn it. And while there was nothing printed on the knife, except I think probably made in USA or something like that, if we were at the store buying these brand new, maybe a set of them in a nice box, there would be a cautionary notice saying that the knife should be used for their intended purposes only, and maybe even a diagram about how to do that. And as you kind of think about this, it's like, okay, we see this everywhere. We hear this on the radio. We see this in the little fine print that you have to zoom in for and even get spectacles, and because zooming in is just not enough. And they tell you that if you don't use this as it's intended, you void the warranty, you can't sue for malpractice or whatever the cause. But how does one love with intention? Is there an unintended use of love? Let's reflect on that. And funny, I should bring up reflect on that, because I swear half of this ministerial formation process has been reflection. And actually the clinical model of chaplaincy is action, reflection. Endless cycle. So, and I am actually nearing the end of this particular path of formation. Because really, we don't end formation. There's continuing education and what have you. So as I'm nearing this, I get to reflect back on what I've already gone through. So I've been with UU for a long time, but not really a UU. It wasn't until I actually had my call that and I was searching for an endorser. I was like, okay, yeah, no, let's put a name on this. Let's sign some papers. I am definitely a UU. So my first big event, the big gathering in Spokane, General Assembly 2019, and got to make some new friends, finding religious educator, musician, ministers, different congregants from different places, and having connections talking about anything from spiritual practices to there's some great Italian food like 3 blocks over. You should go there. But then it comes time for things like the service of the living tradition, or we actually had a retirement that year, so we actually appeared in uniform before that. Yeah, I got some nasty words lobbed in my direction, and that's not the only thing I received during that week. So that really kind of threw in some doubt on how do I continue this if people in my own tradition are going to be like this around me. Well, I kind of looked further back on the path, because we don't form our spiritual practices, our traditions in a vacuum. Somebody else generally has had some spiritual experience before that, and someone before them. So I am looking back to Reverend Egbert Brown, first black man ordained by the American Unitarian Association after graduating from Meadville in 1912. He was ostracized by the larger association, and he moved to Jamaica and tried to start a church there. But he ran into some financial troubles, and he returned back to his family in New York and actually tried to start a Unitarian church there in Harlem. And he established the Harlem Community Church, which in my engineering mind considers that a proof of concept, because at that time we didn't have a all-black Unitarian or Universalist community of any sort, because this is pre-merger, so they're 2 separate faiths. Anyone was welcomed into the congregation. It didn't matter if your skin tone, how much money you made. Everybody was welcome to the table, because at that time we were very exclusively Christian too. And what he was trying to do was create a brotherhood of all men, because that's what the larger association proclaimed. No, they still ostracized him until his dying day. And actually the Harlem Community Church ended up folding. And even further still, we often say things like, love is the doctrine of the church. Have this idea that we are faith guided by that. And it's interesting to see that this metaphor of overcoming the Canaanites as a justification for disseminating indigenous communities was a claim of love is the doctrine. Yes, churches in New England were saying this and putting this in their bylaws and their texts anywhere that they found suitable, and inviting only white people of standing after killing off native tribes or moving them elsewhere, so that way they could set up a parish. So we have this history of there's love, but it's not quite going the way we would think of it now. And it just, as kind of a final part of this section of the reflection, I want to bring up how the dean of chapel at Union Theological Seminary before I left, an Episcopalian, Reverend Dr. Sandra Montez, as we were trying to plan the graduation chapel. I don't even know what spurred it, but she said that the most devastating form of love happens when a church professes. Let me backtrack. The most devastating form of hate happens when a church professes love. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Me, the descendant of boarding school survivors, having had a few standoffs with some people that said that they were Christians as they're holding signs telling me I'm going to go to hell because I loved somebody that they didn't like. Yeah. So, yeah, what is love? How do we do this with intention without causing harm? So I looked it up. And because it's English, it's got like 10, 11 different sub-definitions. But the big ones were a strong feeling of attachment or affection, and then the concern for the well-being of another. That's okay. Yeah, you throw people into a boarding school and you're trying to kill the Indian to save the man. Sure, you're concerned about their well-being, but that's not an ethical application of love. At least not in my eyes. And actually, other languages break apart what love is, such as the ancient Greeks. They had 6 main forms: family, the friendly or platonic, eros, which covered everything from passion and sex and all forms of intimacy. And then there's the love for yourself. I care about me. I'm sure you care about you. Self-love. Hospitality, the love for your guests. I never thought of hospitality as a form of love until I read that. And then unconditional love that's often ascribed to something divine or unknowable phenomena. And then we have writers, philosophers, people that separate it out further as time goes by. But no, English heaps it all into one bin, kind of like the DVDs at Walmart that you have to rummage through. And it's one of these things that there's no warning label on it to tell us when we're doing it wrong. There's no manual. It's a learned skill, kind of like running. We know how to put one foot in front of the other, but if we want to go win a trophy or go to the Olympics, we need to get a coach or talk to a doctor about how to run efficiently. So, by all accounts, how do we love ethically? How do we express our strong feelings without causing harm to one another? Well, it's a great time to actually have this conversation, because right now we're going through this discussion on our larger tradition level with the Article 2 bylaws proposal, because we have these 6 different values that we're hoping to lift up as a living tradition, to continue to learn, to grow, to express ourselves as new generations begin to grow up and others begin to step out. But what connects them all? And specifically, it says in the proposal, we draw from our heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is the center of our shared values. To me, that sounds very static. A love, sure, it binds us together a lot like the web of a dream catcher, but life isn't static. Life keeps moving. What we need to do is think of this love that feeds the values feed the love. And if I could have a diagram of the values like I thought of like 5 seconds ago, I would show the little chalice roaming around and circling back and forth because it's in relationship. Our love is a dynamic thing. because we're a living tradition. And our Universalist heritage kind of, as it props up love, we've also kind of shuffled away notions of hell because, everybody is inherently worthy of love, respect, dignity as part of the web of life. Well, if I really had to articulate a you version of hell, it would probably be that road of good intentions. It's that misapplication of love. When we say that when we say that we are loving someone else, but we end up harming them, because to harm someone else is to harm ourselves. And that is sometimes the greatest sin that we can commit. Thank you. And if you will rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able for the next hymn. No?
Oh, the choir is supposed to sing. That's right.
There we go. I'm jumping ahead. All the music. And now I'd like to invite you to be with me in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of Life, Wangkantaka, we recognize that each of us has but limited power, but limited reach in this world, but there is so much that needs to change. Next Benedict and other missing, murdered Indigenous relatives, trans relatives throughout the United States and around the world. The actions that we see by those of our leaders, those in power, about who is, who isn't human. The conflicts in Palestine, Ukraine, and countless others around the world. The unhoused, the pained, and all who experience strife, be it large or small. We pray for the power, the energy to make an impact in whatever way we can, and may it ripple out into the wider world. We pray this for today, tomorrow, and for the next 7 generations. Nunjwe and Amen. And now, if the choir would be so nice, I invite you to rise and body your spirit as you're willing and able for hymn, I believe it's 1017, Building a New Way.
Please join me in reading the words that are on the screen as we prepare to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the truth of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. Those we carry into our lives until we are together again. Thank you. Before benediction, we have a few quick reminders. All of you here in the sanctuary are invited after the service for coffee, tea, bagels, conversation in Berg Hall, our community room that's right through the doors over there and over there. Visitors and guests especially are invited to stop by the connecting table for a chat. Nearby is a welcome table, and a welcome team member will be happy to answer questions about our church or our denomination. Each of these has a big sign above, so they're easy to find. And be sure to check out the fabulous auction items that are at the back of Berg Hall by the coffee to support the Ventura homeless prevention. Those of you on Zoom, please join each other in the community room as well. Just accept the invitation that you'll see on the screen after the benediction, and you can enter a breakout room for conversation. Folks here in the sanctuary can join those on Zoom via the large screen that is set up in Berg Hall as well. So please consider, those of you here, stopping by and chatting a bit for our folks that are coming here through Zoom.
May you go forth and share your love in all its forms with everyone you meet. Not just be an acknowledgement, but an action that lives on today and tomorrow and for many to come. Blessings be and go forth.